Hi all, welcome to this kind of video that I've been planning for a wee while since the Messi SBC dropped especially, but I've been planning it again. I covered it, I remember, during Team of the Year when it was like doing SBCs, how you kind of like could prepare them using like the objective cards, and I thought I'd do an updated version of this because it feels quite apt now due to Messi. So if you could smash likes, always be much appreciated. Sub to the channel if you're new. Follow me on Twitter at GZLegend, all the links are down below for posts on the channel, and social media links as always. So quite a fair bit to cover in this. Now, the main emphasis really was, because Messi's Player of the Month dropped, I thought I'd show routes that I had built. I'd covered this on Twitter as well. Basically, if you're someone that just does, in my case it's all the objective cards, and say you do a bit of like trading, but also say you've got packs, and say you've ended up with players that you've still never used up. So in my case, I've got like untradeable informs, untradeable 83s and 82s and all that stuff that I won't use. I might use them for objectives, but I won't use them for anything else. Now the objective cards, like your Cucurella, I only have his 82 because I won't do squad battles, and that's how I don't have Jota. But the only, like, I'll have everything kind of unlocked. So like from Guendouzi to Fofana to Reinier to Coman, everything. I will have like every objective card. The only one I have, as I said, I've not got this FIFA is Jota. That's the only one I've got, which was his one to watch, or any of the future Cucurella versions. If I was not gonna tamper my record, that would be interesting to see how. What else we could have had, because it would have been nice to have had the Jota, especially with him now being an 83, and obviously the Cucurella being like, what was it, 84, 86, 87, you're getting 3 extra versions. It would help for it, obviously, say Messi. But Messi's around 1516, and my point basically is, since the start of the game to now, if you were to have just kept all your SBC cards, like any objective cards, even SBC cards, because a lot, when it gets to the higher rated routes, like the 88 and 89, I'm throwing in cards, one I would have absolutely no use for, because I only did them because we needed to do an SBC to use up stuff. So that's like Boateng, I don't mind having, but if I'm not using them, it's like you say to yourself, what's the point? And then it's the same with some of the icons. If it means the routes are getting basically in theory done for nothing, then I'll do it. It's the way I'm looking at it. And I'm kind of half hoping that Caputo and Guendouzi's what ifs get upgrades, so then that way it makes routes a little bit easier, and then I can probably try and adjust them a little bit further. But it's almost to then try and say that the cards that you're putting in are not just saving you a fortune, but at the same time, would you say to yourself, if you're throwing in all these cards, is it really that worth it for a 96 rated Messi? Because it is worth noting as well, he needs another inform to equal this card, which he should likely get between now and the end of the season, or a team of the tournament or whatever. And you've then got to say to yourself, right, if he's 96, if he gets a 96 rated special, then it competes with the SBC, but at the same time you have so many other SBCs out there just now that you could say to yourself, but Graham, I could do these SBCs, so like Malquay, or the Guaranteed What If, or Joe Hart, or Christian Tello, any of the icons like Puyol, Nedved, Kluivert, because there's even a debate that you could in theory get free icon moments for the price of potentially Messi, for example, for all the cards that you're maybe throwing for Messi. There is a potential case for that because of everything that you're throwing in. It is worth noting as well, folks, that Robertson's untradeable. That's the only, and same with the icons. Everything's untradeable that I would be throwing in anyway. I can't sell it, I can't do anything with them. Like, I can do them for objectives, but it's not my that's not the emphasis at the point. It's to say, oh, I can pretty much do like any like player SBC I wanted, from even like say Kroos, Muller, Fair, the mid icon player pick, whatever. There's so much I can do, and the only players I've gave up were Moments Suarez and the 86 Beckham. I can't remember what SBCs it was off the top of my head during Team of the Year, but in theory they would have helped make other SBCs doable. But it's worth noting with the three icons, like, they're fairly straightforward routes, but at the same time you have like the initial routes, but then you'll obviously have to then say to yourself, right, what I'm packing has to then kind of hopefully supplement other routes. That's what you're kind of having to rely on, and there's no guarantee it'll happen. I had a quick look, but I didn't really want to build the routes because I thought, who knows how I would go about it. It's like when it came to Messi, I worked out right away, like it was quite straightforward. With the icons, it'd be like, I'm not really that fussed. I'm not really fussed for a Puyol or a Nedved or a Kluivert. I think if my approach to the game was different this year, then I'd feel tempted, but I'm really not. Like, Messi just feels like saying, you'd say to yourself, I've put 6 months, or it feels like 6 months to the game, 6 months of objective fodder, got nothing to do with them. Yes, I'll use them to do objectives, because they're kind of usually the basis of my teams, but am I overly fussed to give them all up for a Messi? Like, we've still got 4 weeks, so I expect plenty of objective cards will come into the club between now and then, and I highly doubt I'll be swung to consider doing any of the icons. Like, the only way you'd feel even remotely tempted, and I can't see it, is if a real big icon dropped. Like, I'm talking like a Eusebio, Kaká, but they're never going to drop. Like, anything that's big, there's absolutely no way any of them will drop. So you then say to yourself, and that's kind of why Messi, like, the Liga and Player of the Month could be Mbappe, Ben Yedder, Depay. If Mbappe drops, it then makes you say to yourself, could there be a case that you could get Messi and Mbappe done? Then that would be, and I'm talking for nothing, by the way, like, because you'd maybe do Messi first before the end of the month, and then depending on what fodder you still had left from objectives and so forth, you would say, right, there is maybe a case that I could get it done, but at the same time you'd try and be smart about it, really. But also I've got to remember, I'm not opening packs, so I've got to kind of rely on my intuition to make things happen. That's what I've got to rely on. So, because I don't like spending coins on SBCs if I don't have to, and I'd rather try and put the coins into trying to build up more for something at a later date, regardless. But it definitely brings up an interesting debate. Is the grind really worth it? And, like, for me, for the amount of games that you've put in to get all these objective cards, and especially with more likely to still come over the months, it makes you say to yourself, it's a tricky one, because some of these cards, like a Messi Player of the Month, yes, is a nice card to own, but is it really, really worth it for 6 months of, like, giving up objective cards? That's kind of where you've got to look at it, because you would say to yourself, does the objective cards fit your team, or does Messi fit your team? Because it's what you, it's like cost relation and all this type of stuff. But it's an interesting debate, and I'll hopefully get a few more discussions on this from folks. But let me know in the comments, folks, what your thoughts on this are. Would be appreciated. So sub to the channel if you're new, like the video if you enjoyed it, and I will catch you all later.